Okay, today I'm going to fix my weights rack, make a couple of modifications to that. One modification to two parts of that to make the thing more safe for stupidity proof, I think is a better way of putting it. Let's just get into that then. When I have this bar lower in order for me to do my bench presses, the notch that you fix these little doodads into, so this whole thing is adjustable up and down, so you can raise the height, lower the height of where your bar sits. The notch that it sits in where it's comfortable for me-ish is in a bit of a crummy place, as I can actually lift the bar higher and over and behind, which is slightly problematic when you got a bunch of weight on there. Bar came down behind it and scored me in the noggin. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna weld on some tabs onto here, reinforce it from the behind a bit, so that when I'm at full extension, I can just lean back, drop the weights in there and not have to worry about being too precise. Before I can do anything in here, which is the workshop that I try to do some work in. It's just my two-car garage, which I commandeered and turned into a workshop, much to the missus' delight. I'm gonna have to tidy up in here. So I guess it's time for some housekeeping. That's considerably nicer. Room to move now. So what I'll do is move on to fixing these things. My extensions that I was talking about. Just using a bit of 6mm mild steel flat stock that I've got lying around. What I'm going to do, measure the width of this and cut off an equivalent size of that. Got to get rid of these burrs that are on here, sharp edges. I have a deburring tool, whether it's going to work. Nope. Close. It's not perfect. Don't really care. What I'll do after is cut another piece, and on the reverse side, this piece behind it to support it, just for reinforcement. Gotta remove paint. I'm not a professional. I don't know what amperages and what not to use. I just wing it. Figure a stick weld. Yeah, 88. Sure, why not? If it doesn't work, I'll adjust it. Some would say that welding on top of wood isn't the smartest idea. What tends to happen, as you heat it, things tend to move, so there wasn't this much of a gap a second ago. Fairly easy way to fix that. Well, I thought it'd be a fairly easy way to fix it, but the gap's still there. This is one of those moments where you, if it's not the way you want it, you press on regardless. decided I'm going to quickly cut the pieces for the back before welding it, so when it warps and whatnot it should be alright still. Alright, well I've changed my mind. I'm going to allow the warps to happen because there's a difference in, I don't know how big this is, in height between this piece here and this piece here. If I run a gusset along there, there's a gap that I have to deal with, and I can't be bothered, so I'm just going to weld this sucker together, and whatever happens happens. If it's not the shape I want, I'll bend it. It'll be fine, I hope. I'm going to weld the front first. I think generally when you're welding it warps towards the weld, but if that's the case, I'd rather it just tilting forwards a little bit than backwards. Yeah, it's interesting. This time I've got the lip on the front, so this one must be bent. Or this one. I don't know. Whatever. So, ideally you'd have the weld on the other side come through, poke it through a bit. But I'm using electrodes that are a bit thin for the job. So maybe I'll just run a bead along the back as well. That's a good idea. Normally I'd just let this cool off, but I want to get it done, so I'm going to go run it under some cold water and cool it off so I can get the next step going. So now I've got bead running along here and along here. Pretty confident it'll be fine. Looks a bit messy. I'll come along and take off all these little BBs with the grinder. Then I'll give it a lick of paint. I'll fix up the edges as well. These are a bit sharp. I don't want to have that in the gym. Professional, it is not. But for the sake of going in my gym, home gym, really doesn't matter. So I think now all that's left is to give them a quick lick of paint. Well, all I have is high temp, heat resistant paint, rated to 540 degrees Celsius. You know, because so there they are, done and dusted. I can get in here feeling a little more confident now. The last thing to do is to tidy up, and then I can get back in here.